Hi friends, I started shooting this video as a supplement for some of my students that were in a group lesson earlier this week, and I decided to share with everybody. So as a bonus for being my student, here you go, some additional content this week. The topic that we talked about was chord tones. If you don't know what a chord tone is simply one of the notes that belongs to the chord. Okay, so if I, as a guitar player, am playing along with either another guitar player or piano player, if the piano player or the other guitar player is playing a C major chord, they are playing the notes C, E, and G. I, as the guitar player, will want to target some or all of those chord tones, C, E, and G. This might seem tremendously simple. It's deceptively simple, but it's a massive, massive concept that you can really work on for the rest of your guitar career, believe it or not, figuring out ways to target chord tones. I spent an hour on it myself this morning. So what I want to show you is that you can be very simple with it, right? So you can play your C major chord. Within my C major chord, I simply have a C, an E, there's that open G there, then another C, then another E. So some students will leave it at that, and that's okay if that's as far as you want to take it. You know, just know that all you're playing in there, you might think 5 different notes. You're not. You're playing C, E, G, C, E in there. So it's really only 3 notes. There's only 3 chord tones within that. If you wanted to take that a step further as a lead guitar player or as a composer, or even as a rhythm guitar player trying to spice up your rhythm guitar playing, you might want to take those chord tones and move them someplace else. One thing that you can do is take this G, instead of playing it there, you can play it here. So what we wind up with is C, open E, G. Okay, so you can take those 3 notes and you can come up with any combination of those 3 notes. Okay, it'll be there. You get the idea. So that might seem a little bit too simple. So what if we put this G back in there, okay? Okay, that would be one option. I could move the entire thing up an octave, and that's what I'm going to do, and that's where I want to spend the meat of this bonus lesson, is just showing you all sorts of fun things that you can do with C, E, and G across just 2 strings. We're just going to pick a string pair. I'm going to play on the high string pair, the first string, the E string, and the second string, the B string. Okay, so all I'm looking at right now is C, E, and G, and I'm going to show you a ton of different ways that you can be creative playing C, E, and G. Okay, I'm going to take this idea that I played down here, and I'm going to move it up an octave. So moving this up an octave, you should know that the double dot is where the guitar repeats itself. So the double dot here is going to be my B note, same as the open B string. So now I'm at the 1st fret, so now I'm just going to move that C will be found right there. Open E will be at the 12th, and G can be found right there. Okay, so now moving it up an octave, things can get a little bit more interesting. Okay, not bad there. 3 notes can get a little bit tedious after a while, so you can come up with your own kind of patterns. And you don't have to just descend, you can go up. Okay, so what I have there is C, E, and G. Well, chord tones don't have to be in order, do they? I can take this idea, I can take my C, E, and G and put maybe the E as the lowest note. And then I'll use the G as my 2nd highest note, and I will use this octave above C here at 15, 17, 19, 20. Fret number 20 there, I'm going to get my C. Okay, so now I can do the same thing, still playing a C chord. I have an E on the 17th fret of the B string, a G on the 15th fret of the E string, and a C all the way up there at 20. Now it starts to sound a little bit more interesting. It's not the same boring old C, E, G, C, E, G. We're starting to hear the notes in a different order, which your ears might not be used to doing yet. If you're finding that a little bit too easy, try connecting the two. And then come up with your own little patterns. Okay, so I'm just connecting these two ideas. I'm not doing anything new. There's no additional notes. It's just C's, E's, and G's. Okay, just real simple there. That's just me taking a very simple idea. That's all I did. Highest note, middle note, lowest note, and just kind of come up with a simple pattern there. And then moving it up. It's still a C chord. Okay, maybe that's too easy. Maybe you want more. Well, let's move it down, okay? Remember, we started here, we had C, E, G. From there, I moved it up to E, G, C. Now let's move it down. Let's use this E here. That C there, and this G right here. So I have 12th fret on the first string, 8th fret on the first string, 8th fret on the second string. So now I have 3 versions of the same chord. Okay, I'm taking this idea and I'm just kind of moving it around. So you can come up with all sorts of fun ways to start to connect those. Maybe you're playing an acoustic guitar and it's really uncomfortable to get past the body up here. Okay, so if you're having trouble reaching, we can move that first one down an octave. So instead of playing it up here, we'll play it back down here. So what I have is I'm just showing you how to play that first part down an octave again. So G, 3rd fret on the first string, open E, so that's the open first string, down to 1st fret on the B string. Okay, that's the first one. So I have C, E, G. The next one, again, if you don't want to play all the way up here, maybe you physically can't because your acoustic guitar body is getting in the way, or maybe you just don't like that high of a sound, maybe that's not your thing. Or maybe you're looking to expand all of it, right? Which would be really neat. So let's take the second one that was all the way up here, which was C, G to E. It's going to be tricky to reach, so you're going to have to pivot on your thumb a little bit if you want to try this one. If my thumb is sitting in the back of the guitar here like this, I can kind of roll on it, which gives me a tremendous stretch. You can see that I'm pivoting on my thumb, I'm just turning my hand like this. So my thumb is anchored on the back of the neck and I'm just kind of turning it like this. So you can see I get a tremendous sweep very easily without really have to stretching my hands too far. I'm going from the 3rd fret to the 12th fret, really without doing much of a stretch at all. If I stretch as far as I can get a little bit beyond an octave there. There's no reason to do that, but it's possible. So you're probably going to need to use that sort of idea. Keep your hand loose. Don't be tense. Don't tighten up. It might seem like a difficult thing, and what we tend to do when things are difficult is tense up, right? We tense up our hands, we tense up our shoulders, we tense up our necks. Just make sure you're not doing that, and if at any point throughout the course of this you feel any pain, stop, take a break. Guitar shouldn't be painful. It's supposed to be fun. Okay, so what I'd like you to do, we're going to try this one down an octave. So the C is here, the 8th fret. The G, pivoting on my thumb here, the G is still at the 1st fret, and the E we're going to get from the 5th fret right there. Now, this might be a stretch for some of you. For others, it'll be just the perfect amount of challenge. Okay? And then we can combine that with the 12-8-8 from before. So what I have, C, E, G, E, G, C, G, C, E. Now if you can combine that, if you have an electric guitar or if you have a cutaway on your acoustic and you want to get all the way up there, you can combine them all. Okay, and then you can start to make melodies and patterns within that. Maybe you want to shift from this one to this one, and then this one. Maybe you want to go a little bit faster with it. You can, the sky is kind of the limit. And again, I'm just using C's, E's, and G's. That's it. That's all over a C chord. So I spent, 10 minutes with you now just thinking about ways to play a C chord. We haven't even talked about the A minor yet. Okay, so that C chord, you can play it as fast or as slow as you want. You can move it to different string pairs. You can do hammer-ons and pull-offs, right? Towards the end there, I was doing a pull-off, and you can do a pull-off here. Okay, so I kind of got a little bit sloppy there, but you get the idea that I'm doing, So you can, get fast with it, or you can slow it down. You go tremendously slow, add some vibrato on each note. So that's a really big idea. That's C. Okay, so we've looked at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different ways to play those 3 notes. And that's just across 2 strings. Imagine what would happen if I added in a 3rd string, right? So if I went back to using that G, C, E, G, but up the octave. Okay, so there's lots of fun things you can do. That was just a C chord. All I did was C, E, G, so G, E, C, G, G, C, E, G, G. Okay, and that's just me adding in now another string. So that's something that you can do if you go through all the examples that I gave you and you're still thirsty for more chord tones based on a C major chord. Add in, figure out ways to add in that 3rd string, the G string, to all of your chord tones from before. So this one here would be, okay, that's the first one that we did. The next one would have, so here I'm getting the C, I'm adding the C on the G string there at the 17th fret of the 3rd string. Okay, so there's a lot that you can do just over the C chord. We talked about adding in a 2nd chord. For this example, I'm using an A minor chord. You notice the difference between the A minor chord is just 1 note from the C chord. C chord has C, E, and G. The A chord has the C and the E from before. We're just moving this G up a note. So everything that we just covered using that C chord, all I have to do is find my G in that C chord. In this example, it's here. And I'm going to move that up to A. Okay? So over the A minor chord, I can take that first idea. There's the A minor chord. And if you want to get real nuts with it, you can do both at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to play the A minor and the C major chord at the same time, simply by adding in, I'm going to alternate my high note here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be coming down to those 2 notes, that E and the C. I'm going to alternate between going up to G and A. Nothing tremendously magical about that, just combining the 2 chords. Or maybe you want to hang out on the C chord for all 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4 to A minor. So all you have to do now is go back through all the examples of the C chord that we had done and turn that G into an A, and guess what? Now you're targeting chord tones of an A minor chord. All right, so just to continue then, I'll show you the 2nd one and then we'll leave it at that. The 2nd position of the chord tone C, the C that we had done was 17 on the 2nd string with the E. 15th fret on the 1st string, that's my G. Okay, so that's the one we're going to want to move here to A. So we're going to have 17, 17, 20. Okay? E, A, Now remember, I'm doing this stuff in groups of 3. You don't have to do groups of 3. You can do groups of 5. You can do groups of 4. You let your creativity set the limits. The limits to this are only what your imagination can put on them, right? So you can come up with all sorts of things that I've never thought of, I'm sure. And that's your challenge this week. It's not just to be able to list the 3 notes in a C major chord or be able to recite to me the notes that are in an A minor chord. Yeah, that's a good byproduct of this week's lesson, but that's not really the point. The point is for you to think about chord tones and say, okay, here's the 3 notes that I have. How much can I possibly do with just 3 letters? Okay, so I'm not saying that you can only play 3 notes. Again, I can grab. Okay, so that's all the notes of an A minor chord. I have A, C, E, A. You might want to throw in this E. So there's a lot of options that you have. Again, just playing 3 different letters. You're not limited to 3 sounds. You're just limited to these 3 musical pitches. Okay, so you can play this E all over the place. So that's an A. Maybe you only want to target the chord tone A over top of the A minor. Maybe you want to do the same thing that I've been showing you for the C chord. And then on the A, you just want to hit all A's. Okay, that's fine. Okay? Again, the only limit is really the limits of your creativity. You know, how much do you want to do with it? So this is a couple examples, just a handful of examples, the majority of which were just on 2 strings. Well, you know, there's 4 other strings that we can use. So can you figure out, you know, how to play this really big A minor arpeggio? Okay, because that's really all we're doing when we're playing, you know, that big sweep picking kind of thing. Is I just played an A minor chord. I just, you know, found as many of the A's, C's, and E's as I can, and then tried to connect them all. So these are things that you can do. You should not be bored. You should not feel like you don't have enough to work on this week. If you do feel that way, post something on the student forum, shoot me an email, show up to the personal trainings this week, and let me know. I will gladly make it harder for you. I will gladly give you more ways to make this interesting for you. Okay, so I hope this was beneficial to everyone, not just the people that were in the group on targeting chord tones, but everybody. Hopefully you have something new to think about, different ways to expand on just 3 notes. Okay, and maybe don't feel overwhelmed if you couldn't do some of the things that I was doing up here that quickly. That's not the point. The point isn't to be fast. The point is to do what your ear and your skill set is telling you to do. So don't push too fast. Don't push to play at the speed that I was playing at simply because you heard me doing that. That's not the point. The point of this isn't to play fast. It's for you to be creative, but also to apply the knowledge, for you to begin to understand what you're doing by targeting chord tones, and for you to understand and integrate this skill into your playing. Okay, I could give you 1,000 different ways to play this. I could, and I have books on it. I have a library full of books on just simply exercise on how to do this stuff. But I don't think that's going to be beneficial for you because you're not thinking about it. I want you to think about your exercises. And I think the best thing that you could do would be to share them with your peers in the group. The best thing to do would be post a video on the forum or post a tab on the forum of your particular example so that other people can see it. You know, maybe student Lucas is working on, you know, something up here that I was. Maybe student Katie is kind of down here thinking of ways to make those chords sound very deep and lush and full. And, you know, the 2 students could really benefit from one another, assuming their guitars are in tune. All right, friends. Thank you very much, students. Thanks for being students of mine. I appreciate you, which is why I'm sending you all this brand new additional content for this week. Take what you can from it and leave the rest behind, and or ask me questions about it. Have an awesome weekend, and I'll see you all next week.